Waking up on Christmas Day is one of the scariest days of the year for me, and that's because I have flashbacks to being a kid when I would wake up and there'd be this head right in front of me belonging to my sister saying, "It's Christmas." I'm like, get away from me! To do this every year, it scared the heck out of me all the time. To wake up on Christmas Day, such a special day, it's Christmas. But vengeance is mine, says the Lord. When I was old enough to be able to wake up and she was still the high schooler, I would creep into her room. The only creeping I've ever done. And just was there and was like, "It's Christmas." She's like, "Oh, no, get away from me." So gratefully, this fine community has locks on all the doors. So I feel fine and will not stay near my sister in the morning. We'll celebrate later on after all the festivities. We're going to have a great time, many of us, celebrating over at Graham Chapel tomorrow, just the goodness of the coming season. I remember growing up that my sister, as a little kid, would open up gifts from Santa or from relatives, and as she would scream at the top of her lungs, and she would yell, "This is just what I always wanted!" She was just so excited. So we have this on videotape, just present after present, right? She would open it up and go, "This is just what I always wanted!" And so year after year of doing this, I'm like, "How much did you want, girl?" And I had my own stash too, and it's funny, over the years, and not to disparage the gift giving at all, but I would find these gifts that I was so excited to receive one year on the closet shelf in the next, and I still liked those things. I would still play with those toys. I was so happy to receive them, but they didn't seem as special as they did when I first opened them. Liz, as she wanted all of these things, was in the same way. As we grow up, we want different things, and we keep growing and desiring different things. And she wasn't as excited about those gifts that she had. I would encourage us to be able to think back to not just the toys that we've gotten or the neat presents that people have given us. This is for everyone, kids and adults. But to also think about the other things that we've always wanted. And then when we've gotten them, that great joy that we had in the moment, but how even those great things are never enough. And think about it professionally for a second. Right? You've been waiting to get that degree. Right? We have some students in our congregation tonight, and you get that degree, and you're just so excited about it, and it's graduation day. And then afterwards, there's okay, what's next? Or you get your big kid job, right? You got your little briefcase, right? Got your nice little power suit, right? With the big padding, some of you. I know you had the big padding, right? Jackets, right? And you get your big kid job, and you get to it, and you're so excited, but what's next? And then maybe some of you have been able to reach the heights of some of those areas. Okay, we got the house that we wanted, we got the car that we wanted, we got the vacation that we wanted, we have the family that we wanted, that kid's a little noisy. But in the middle of all of that, like there's this moment where if we're looking at our lives, there's this crying out in our hearts for something more. For something more, and I would say all of us know, and this is why it's good to end Advent on this note, we're not just looking for something more, we're looking for someone more. And as we're looking for Jesus and we are trying to figure out how to navigate life with him and recognizing that we can't do it without him, there's this moment where Jesus longs for us to see that only he can satisfy us. Only he can fulfill the longing in your hearts. And there's nothing wrong at all with the gift giving. I've got a closet full of stuff I'm going to bring over to the family. I hope they like it. Worked really hard on Amazon to get all these things. But not kidding at all. But in the moment of that, and I hope that they delight in the particular thoughts that I had for each of them and why they might like these gifts. But I also hope that in our own lives, in our spiritual journey, that we might be able to see God giving us different gifts and giving us different things that are particular to us. our skill sets, what we need, what we haven't had in our lives, and to see as we open them up how much God delights in them. Here's what's hard sometimes about following Jesus, or just about being alive in general, is that sometimes there's gifts that we're given that don't look like gifts at all. And as we open them up, it comes with some real hardship and some real uncertainty or fear, or any other predominant emotion that'll happen. And there have been times where Jesus has offered me a gift, and I'm like, I don't want that gift. I don't want to have anything to do with that. He's like, well, can I show you how to use it? Sometimes I just want that to go on the shelf, with the other things that have been forgotten. Or maybe there's other gifts that I have forgotten that God has given me that I'm not using, that perhaps you're not using. Oh, that was back then. I'm not really good at that thing anymore, or it's been so long. So does the Lord really want to use that gift in me? I don't know. Maybe you can ask him. Our gospel question today is, what does Jesus want for Christmas? Or to ask it to Jesus, Jesus, what do you want for Christmas, for your birthday? I wonder if you have had a moment to think about that. Because I know with the semester ending and all of our good things going on here, I took a moment on Wednesday. I was like, whew, good night. This place is crazy, in a good way, right? But then just kind of in these past couple of days, just recognizing, wow, if you're not careful, Christmas and Advent can just come and go, right? And we can just be so busy doing the next right thing that we forget about the Lord and what he wants to do for us in this season. So I've just been trying in this end of third, beginning of the fourth Sunday of Advent, Jesus, what do you want for Christmas? And I think the answer that has come up to me year after year is, and I hope you can hear this tonight, is Jesus says, I want you. You're the one that I want. Just as you are, and I want to continue to love you and accompany you on this journey. That's what this gospel, I think, speaks loud and clear to us. Jesus wants you so badly that he enters into our humanity, enters into the messiness of it, the heaviness of it. He enters into it in a really difficult time where there's all these different political things that are happening. The Romans and the Jewish people are not getting along. The Romans are in power, and they are oppressing the Jewish people. Here's this Jewish king that's threatened by the fact that there's this Messiah that's been foretold. So Jesus is a fugitive. Jesus is a refugee. Jesus is going through all these different things, and he's just born. Here's Mary, who is bearing a child in a way that was not understood. And because of people's hardness of heart, they seek to get rid of her. Joseph, who's just trying to do his faithfulness and be a good future husband and father, is dealt with some very difficult decisions. I don't want this gift. Mary says, how is it that this should happen to me? Let it be done unto me according to thy word. Mary recognizes that she has a part to play in the great gift of bringing Jesus into the world. And I think as you and I truly do believe all of us are trying to let us receive Jesus as a gift, that we have to navigate, okay, well, how is it that fiat in my own life comes to play? How is it that I can bring you into the world through my own circumstances? And maybe that's just being nice to your family over the next couple of days, right? That can be difficult enough. But then to allow this Advent that we're ending to be the thing that launches us forth into the new Christmas season, and to have a whole other set of perspectives as we're opening up gifts, to not forget to open up the spiritual ones or to appreciate them. One last thing, because I'm a Catholic nerd and we're at this fine institution, I just think it's so important to say, what is David's city? Right? The royal city of David. Do we know what it is? Anyone want to shout it out? Starts with a B? Bethlehem. Thank you. Great. And we're hearing about Nazareth. So we've got Nazareth and Bethlehem. And in the first reading, as Terry read that, talking about the king wanting to make a suitable house for the Lord. Finally, he's not at war anymore. David's just had back and forth, all different stuff going on in his life. Throw Bathsheba into the mix and all just the heaviness. And so he's finally got some peaceful time. He says, I want to build a suitable house for the Lord. I just think it's important for us to have that as a desire too. I want to build a suitable house for the Lord in my heart. And so how is it, Lord, that I can do that? The prophet Nathan says, go on your way. Go do it. Like, that's fine. But God speaks to the prophet later on, and he says, I don't need a house of cedar. I don't need you to build that for me. And why? It's because of the house of bread that God dwells in. And Bethlehem, literally translated, means house of bread. You see this, Catholics? You see the connection here? Do you see the gift that God has for you? Do you see what it is that he longs for you to continue to understand and to receive in faith? So that when things aren't working out, when things are hard, when it's not December 23rd and 60 degrees, right? When it's cold and rainy and dark and gloomy, and no happy lamp will be able to make it all better. Like, what do you do in that moment? You say, Jesus, I want to prepare a place for you. Jesus, I want to receive you as a gift. Jesus, I trust in you, even though I don't understand it. I think that's what's so beautiful about our Christian life, is that in the middle of what we're experiencing, we're not experiencing it by ourselves. Like, he's made all of this happen so that we can journey with him. So I'm going to say it early because I think you need it. Merry Christmas, right? And to allow this season to come just to be one great gift. And then to continue to allow the prayer in Jesus' life and in your life, Jesus, what is it that I can give you as a gift in this season? Let's rise for the creed. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, maker